Jane Master. I work for StreetNet International as the organizer for East and Southern Africa. Welcome to this ABDA, this morning, this afternoon, from wherever you're joining us. And I'm hoping that we're going to have very, very fruitful discussions. Before we start our webinar, we're going to request that as you join the meeting, or for those who've joined the meeting already, kindly introduce yourself on the chat, say your name and the organization you're working for. We don't want to waste so much time on people introducing themselves. So you can do the introductions on the chat. So now we're going to invite our international coordinator, Oksana Abud, to give us her opening remarks. Welcome, Oksana.
Thank you, Jane. Hello, everyone again. So nice to be here and to see you all. I also see our comrades from other nets, Edwin, and I'm not sure who is from domestic workers for other organizations, but welcome to this very important space today, this event, which is dedicated to an extremely important issue for all workers, including informal economy workers, which is social protection, but particularly we will talk and introduce more the African Protocol on Social Protection. This is a very important document. I strongly believe we just take it as a tool for us, especially for our regional advocacy, to promote social protection, because it contains really very important for us concerns the constituency as well as its scope, which refers to ILO instruments such as Recommendation 202 on social protection floor, also Recommendation 204 on transition from the informal to the formal economy, as well as it strongly talks about decent work pillars, which are always highlighted in the ILO and its space. I would like to thank very much Laura Alfers, our great partner, who is leading this very... Somebody muted me. Laura, thank you so much for your also patience and for your great efforts, because you are giving us so much also encouragement, awareness, and together we really want to build a very strong network of our advocates for social protection. As you remember, we had a course with social protection team led by Laura of WIGO for our South and East African comrades, affiliates, also for West and Central African. So this course on more like theoretical course on social protection, I believe it helped a lot for us to move to another higher stage or level of understanding. So now it depends also on us how united we will be, empowered to move further, to force our governments, especially the governments of Africa, to ratify this important protocol. Because if we think logically, if they already adopted this protocol, what is the problem to ratify it at national level? But it seems it is. So some governments probably are afraid of provisions, because provisions are really so good. I couldn't believe I was reading the protocol which really rich and broad in its scope. Okay, I will leave this space about the protocol to Laura, because she will be providing this expertise, especially for us, how it is important, what we can use, particularly from this document protocol, but again, StreetNet is very committed to continue our work, empowering our affiliates with the knowledge, with the skills on advocacy, how to promote and advocate for ratification first of the protocol. And then once we get ratification, we will need to advocate for implementation, which is probably more difficult, but I'm not discouraging you. It's a process, but we have to be very strong and united with all workers, including trade unions. And I heard that Joel is also here. I'm not sure if he is here. I don't see him. But
Lynn is here already.
okay. Thank you also for ITUC Africa commitment to do this work together with us, because we really need allies in our long struggle, but I believe gradually we will achieve. I will stop here. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stay with you until the end because I have other commitment, but I wish you very productive discussion today, work, and let's hope for our successful achievements in this advocacy campaign that we are moving towards. And I believe we will get what we want, because nothing for us without us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oksana. For those who might have missed her introduction part, Oksana Bud is the International Coordinator for StreetNet International. And thank you so much, Oksana, for your emphasis on the issue of solidarity, because without solidarity in this, there's no way we can achieve, or there's no way we can convince or advocate for a specific government to sign this protocol. Our president could not be with us this afternoon. I had a call with her this morning. She just arrived in Zimbabwe this morning. But all in all, she sent in her remarks, which are going to be played by my colleague, Margareta.
Margarita, there is no sound.
The informal.
Oh, yes, it comes.
Everyone,
can you hear it now?
It is my pleasure to be
Yes,
part
yes.
of this important discussion around the African Union Social Protection Protocol. I am not going to give a very long and winding speech, but I'll simply point out some key points which pertain to social protection vis-a-vis the informal workers in the informal economy. As workers in the informal economy, we already have a number of challenges which stem from lack of protection. We are not protected in so many ways. Although workers in the informal economy have come up with worker-led social protection schemes, this should not be a lullaby for governments to sit back and relax and say that workers have got social protection schemes. Because at the end of the day, government is the key custodian of all workers, and they should have the greater input in ensuring that there is extension of social protection to workers in the informal economy, the working poor, and indeed all vulnerable groups. Social protection is a pathway to providing access to essential social services and income security for all. Income security can come when there is opportunity to work, when there is a conducive environment in which to work in, which currently is not the case for workers in the informal economy, especially street vendors. Street vendors are regarded in most countries as a public nuisance. There's so many challenges. We work in the public space, and the public space is not always friendly. There is violence, there is harassment, added to the absence or the very little social protection that we have. As we have this discussion, I would like to draw participants' minds and focus on the 4 pillars of social protection, which are access to social services, social assistance, social insurance, and social promotion. Because when all is said and done and social protection has been extended to workers in the informal economy, there should be an improvement in their work, an improvement in their human dignity. And this is the social promotion that we are looking at. And when that is achieved, then workers will be able to work sustainably, have more secure income, and they will be able to contribute sustainably to their different national governments. It is my hope, dear comrades, that in this engagement, we shall be able to explore and continue to think about opportunities that we can take advantage of in this process, so that we have, or we define the kind of social protection extension to ourselves, because it is important that the affected articulate their issues. And we as workers in the informal economy, we as street vendors know exactly what we want. If we have done it ourselves, our governments can do much more to complement what we have already done in the achievement of social protection for all and decent work for all. I thank you.
Thank you to Madam President in her absence. We're now going to move on to our panelists for the day. And our first panelist is Dr. Nongo. Dr. Nongo wears so many caps. I didn't know which ones to use, but I'm sure he'll be able to tell us more about himself as he introduces himself. But just to say that Dr. Nongo is the director of, is executive director at the African Platform for Social Protection, APSP, and he's been part of the team that worked on the draft of this protocol at the AU. In fact, the first time I ever went to participate in a meeting of this particular protocol at the AU, I used to think that Dr. Nongo works with the AU until we started interacting more, and then I realized that he's actually part of us. So Dr. Nongo is going to present to us the history of the protocol and why it is important, and actually to give us some of the main points of this protocol. Welcome, Dr. Nongo. I saw Dr. Nongo earlier. I don't know what happened. I don't see him anymore. Yeah, he's there. Tavengwa Mazembe, he's muted. Sorry, if you're there, you're muted. Tavengwa, Dr. Nongo, you are muted. Okay. Maybe as we wait for him to get back, we could all move to the next presentation from Laura Arfas. Laura is the Director of Social Protection Programs at WIGO, and she's worked with WIGO since 2009. So Laura holds a PhD in Development Studies from the University of KwaZulu-Natal and focusing on social policy, and an MPhil from Cambridge University. She's a research associate in the Department of Sociology at Rhodes University, where she supervises postgraduate students and is also involved in building and extending the labor study programs through the Neil Agate Labor Studies Unit. At WIGO, Laura has a global focus while keeping close to what is happening on the ground. So she's currently working with the international and regional networks of workers in the informal economy to develop social protection as a mobilizing and organizing tool. So Laura is here to present to us on how we can use this social protection protocol as a tool of awareness creation. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks very much, Jane, and greetings to the StreetNet comrades over here. I know many of your names from the social protection course that we did, and it's good to see you all here again. It is a pity that we don't have Dr. Nongo coming in before me, just to give a bit of background on the protocol. But maybe I can give a little bit of background so that I don't take over his talk. But at least we know what we're all talking about, and at least we're on the same page. So one of the problems with the AU protocol is that it's a very long technical document that covers many areas of social protection. And what we have tried to do is produce a summary. It was done very quickly, so it is on the set of PowerPoint slides. But it's really a summary of what the protocol is about, why it is important, and I guess most importantly about what you can do, what you and your organizations can do to further support the ratification of the protocol. So I do want to give a little background to the protocol. So it's important. Why is it important? It's important because it is one document on social protection, and it includes informal workers. Okay, so there are a number of regional African legal instruments that exist which talk about social protection. This protocol collects everything into one document. Oh, sorry. Okay. So it's really important that we have all of this in one place, because it provides a coherent legal framework for the African region on social protection. And it also talks about different forms of social protection. So it's not just limited to one type of social protection. It talks about the things that President Laurent Sibanda mentioned: social assistance, social insurance, livelihood promotion, as well as social services. And importantly, it makes it clear that informal workers need to be included in social protection systems, but also that informal workers need to be included in decision-making around social protection systems. And I think that's really important. And so some of the 5 important things that the protocol says, which I think it's important for us all to know, is 1, informal worker organizations should be included in decision-making. 2, existing social protection schemes must be adapted to suit informal workers and include them. 3, and particularly important for women, provide provision of maternity and health protection. 4, there's also a livelihood promotion aspect, giving informal workers access to markets, allowing them to protect their incomes. And 5, formalizing workers over time, but formalization in a gradual way that is focused on protections rather than just on taxation and things like that. So there's a lot of progressive language in the protocol, and I think that's one of the reasons it's so important. The second thing that's important about the protocol is that it is potentially a legally binding document, right? So if governments ratify it, they have to review all of their legislation to see that they are complying with the conditions in the protocol. And that is a great opportunity for informal workers to point out where existing laws are problematic or are not covering informal workers sufficiently. So we should see this as an opportunity. But as I'm sure Dr. Nonga would point out, what's needed to bring this document into force, we need 15 governments in Africa to sign on to the protocol. And once that happens, it comes into force, and thereafter other governments can ratify it. So far, only 2 countries have ratified the protocol. The first was Niger, and the second was Sao Tome and Principe. So only 2 countries. So we have a lot of work to do to raise awareness and ensure that governments are ratifying this. As the slide says, at the moment, it's just a piece of paper. We need to make it more of a reality. So what have we done? We've produced these slides, and this is what these slides are meant to do. We hope that you can take them and adapt them for your own workers' education efforts. The slides do 3 things. First of all, they provide some background on the protocol, on the rights of citizens to social protection and social security. That's the full name of the protocol. And why it's important. So all of the things that I've told you right now, why this is an important document. Then the next part of the slides, sections 1 to 4, take you through the most important parts of the protocol, because there are lots and lots and lots of different sections. We wanted to focus in on some of the sections that we feel are really important for informal workers. So some of those, for example, are Article 5, which speaks directly to informal workers and rural economies and says very explicitly that informal workers must be included. Article 6 speaks to the issues of unemployment and underemployment, but all of which have livelihood promotion activities which are of interest to workers in the informal economy. And Article 8, which focuses specifically on women and girls and puts in place a whole lot of gender provisions around social protection, which is important. And then finally, in section 5, what we've done is to remind you, and this is maybe particularly useful ideas if you're planning on running awareness and education sessions with these slides, we've produced some activities that you can do with your organization to think more about social protection, but also perhaps to develop your advocacy plan about, how you want to start approaching your government around the ratification of this document. So let me take you through a few of these. I won't go through all of these slides because there are too many. What we've also done, as you'll see on section 7 here, on slide 7, is that in between our explanations of the protocol itself, we have included a series of discussion points that you can include in your awareness raising or education sessions. So for example, in this first discussion point slide, we've asked some questions, so if you're giving a talk to your members, you might be able to ask them questions about the protocol. What will you do to encourage your government to ratify this protocol so that it can be enforced? So again, this is just to help you roll this protocol out as a way both to raise awareness of social protection, because I know that the knowledge gap around social protection is huge. So you can use these slides both as a way to expand knowledge on social protection, but then also as a concrete organizing tool, right? To say, listen, we need to come together and do something around this. Our organization is trying to do something around this. Join us. So there's the discussion points, and then here we start getting into sections, you know, around that are important: the preamble, the definitions, the guiding principles, the groups of targets, the types of social protection that it views as important, governance, financing, accountability. And governance is quite important because that's where it talks about informal workers needing to be consulted on the design of social protection. And again, I won't go through all of these, but I want to just give you an idea of what is in the slide. So there's some basic background on social protection, which is also important, as well as the articles itself and more discussion points, as you'll see. I just wanted to get to the activities at the end. So we've put together some ideas like a checklist where you can go through with your workers. Do we have coverage for these? Is the government providing us with anything here? Yes, no. What are our comments on this? And it's just a way to get everybody thinking about what their social protection priorities might be. And again, we've listed some ideas about actions that your organizations can take, such as educating your members, working with the media, running awareness campaigns, working with local and community leaders, linking to other organizations. So this is just a template to help you think in a structured way about how you might want to take this work forward. So there's an action column, a how we want to take it forward column, and what resources are needed column. So again, just to help you think more about the protocol, to spread awareness, and we hope to help you organize as well around this important document. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for highlighting the 5 main points from the protocol, which include inclusion, suiting our needs, issues on maternity and health for women, issues to access to markets, and also the formalization. I think this is a very good way to start the popularization of this protocol. And thank you so much for preparing for us already as to the slides that we can use in terms of advocacy and training. Comrades, we're not going to allow questions now, but we'll give everybody a chance, or whoever wants to ask questions at the end of all the presentations. But also, meanwhile, if you have any question or any comment, just feel free to put it on the chats. But questions will be raised at the end of all presentations. We're now going to invite the next. I see Dr. Nongo is not here, but I've contacted their office in Nairobi, and they're trying to raise him. So we are hoping that before we finish, we'll be able to get his presentation. We're now going to move to the NETs, and the NETs are going to tell us about their position on the protocol, or whatever strategies they've put in place in terms of popularizing this strategy. Comrade Vicky from Tanzania, the regional coordinator of IDWF, could not make it because she has leadership who are visiting Tanzania, so she was engaged in taking them around. But all in all, she sent through her presentation, a small presentation on what strategies they have in place, and I'm going to read on her behalf. So as you know, any sent document you read as it is, and editing can only be done by the publisher. So this is the presentation of IDWF Africa on the African Union Social Protection Protocol, Opportunities for Informal Economy Workers webinar. Position of the International Domestic Workers Federation on the protocol and strategies. So one, they've given an introduction that one of the challenges for domestic workers in Africa is most of the domestic workers are not covered with social protection schemes. And from 2021, social protection has been an agenda for the African region. Having this protocol is an opportunity for domestic workers in Africa to campaign more on the ratification for African governments. So what is the position of IDWF Africa? It is to support through lobbying and advocacy for ratification of the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, on the rights of citizens to social protection and social security, through ILO Recommendation 204 of 2015 on formalizing the informal economy, which aims at supporting the formalization of the informal, promotion of the economic inclusion of workers, recognizing the fundamental rights of workers, and fostering an entrepreneurial spirit, as well as contributing to decent work and civic participation. 2, ILO Convention 189 and Recommendation 201 of 2011 on decent work for domestic workers. In Article 14 of the ILO Convention, it specifies the need to respect social protection, including with the respect to maternity. So the strategies they've put in place is 1, translation of the AU protocol in 5 languages and distributing it to their affiliates. Awareness creation to the affiliates through the regional Zoom meeting, which will be held in February 2014. They are also planning to design leaflets and electronic materials to share with their members. Develop a training material on the protocol and share with affiliates to educate workers. And then finally, conduct consultative meeting with federations in the respective countries and share the leaflets for support. So those are the strategies that IDWF have put in place. As I've mentioned, Vicky could not join us, but if there's any question, then shoot it through. I'm sure I would be able to get an answer from her. So we now invite HomeNet International, and Edwin Bett will be doing the presentation on behalf of HomeNet International. Edwin is the regional coordinator for HomeNet Africa. He's also an ex-official member HomeNet International Executive Committee. Edwin holds a Master of Business Administration MBA degree focusing on international business management from the University of Nairobi. Karibu sana, Edwin.
Thanks, Jen, for that brief introduction. As mentioned by Jen, I work for HomeNet Africa as the regional coordinator and an ex-official member of HomeNet International Working Committee. I will speak on behalf of both the international network, the regional one, and also the national networks in Africa. We have a network in South Africa, another one in Rwanda, in Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Kenya. And we are soon moving to Zimbabwe. Now, the position of HomeNet on the protocol, on the African Union protocol, especially on social protection and social security, is that we support without any reservations the contents of the protocol. And we've had an opportunity to look through the document, all the articles, and go through them one at a time. We find this document being very close and speaking to the International Convention on Home-Based Work, C-177 of 1996, that seeks to recognize the home-based workers and also provide for them a list of services from governments. And this list of services have been well captured in the protocol in this document. We have decided to adopt a number of strategies to popularize the protocol amongst our members. And one of the first ways to do it is alliance building. We worked very closely with WIGO. Laura Alphas has helped us develop a summarized presentation on the document. We've also worked very closely with the African Platform for Social Protection, and they've been gracious enough to give us the raw document, the protocol itself. They've also participated in offering a training, a one-day training for running through the protocol for members in Kenya some 1.5 weeks ago. And we've also agreed to work with StreetNet in doing joint workshops and seeking government support going forward. We've also agreed that generating further worker education materials is very important. So we want to ensure that the two documents, the summary and the raw protocol, is distributed far and wide amongst our membership. In that sense, we've agreed also to provide for a day workshop for the African regional, during the African regional workshop in March, where we will get representatives from all the 6 countries to sit through and discuss the protocol. So those are the 3 key strategies that we've identified that we want to work with. And lastly, we also identified the media as a good part of our alliance building, and we would want to use them to highlight and cover any sensitization workshops that we will hold going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin. It's really quite encouraging to see that Formnet International Africa has already taken a step forward to sensitize their members on the protocol, and they've already picked up some of the main issues that addresses them. And I think this is also an encouragement to all of us to go through the protocol and more specific on section 5 that is with informal workers, so that we're able, as we go out there, to advocate for our government to ratify the protocol, to sign into the protocol. We are aware of the issues that are addressed. We are now going to invite our partners from ITUC Africa. And to represent ITUC Africa is our sister, Ghislaine. Ghislaine is the coordinator of social protection and gender equality at ITUC Africa. And she holds a PhD in sociology on development and health and a master's degree in project management. Welcome, Ghislaine. Ghislaine. I think we lost Ghislaine. Yeah, I can't also see Ghislaine, but she's been with us. I don't know what happened, but as I try to contact Ghislaine, maybe my colleague Evelyn could take over for any questions or any comments for Laura or Edwin.
I
Eileen?
think that she is entering now again, Jane.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
So she's here, but she's not connected with audio yet.
Okay.
And she's here.
Comrade Ghislaine, bonjour.
Bonjour, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I already introduced you. You can go ahead with your presentation, please.
Just give me 1 minute to set it, and
Okay.
then I will be ready to follow you. I just first in a little issues concerning connection that I changed my phone to be able to join you momentarily. So I will share my screen with you in a few minutes, but I can
Okay.
start talking. As you see, those who already take a floor before me already talk about what I prepare for you. But anyway, I will share the bit part. Sorry, I need to change. Then this maybe I need to. Is it better now?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Good. Thanks. Most welcome.
Share my screen with you, and then I will, did you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that
And feel free to use.
Nous ne voyons pas ton
Feel
écran
free
encore.
to use.
you didn't
Feel
see
free to
my.
use.
On n'a pas ton écran encore.
See.
Yeah, we can see it.
No,
Like,
see.
yeah, feel free to use either French or English, whatever you're comfortable with.
Vous voyez mon écran, oui ou non?
Oui, on le
Oui.
voit, Ghislaine, on est là, bonjour.
Oui,
Bonjour.
on peut regarder
Oui,
l'écran.
c'est clair, on voit ça.
Voilà. Donc maintenant, si vous voulez regarder la personne qui parle, me voici. Alors, donc Laura a
C'est pas
déjà.
partagé, l'écran n'est pas partagé. Hein.
Si, l'écran est partagé.
Oui, c'est partagé, on peut regarder l'écran.
OK. Alors, si vous voyez, Laura a déjà passé en revue ce que je voulais dire.
What I wanted to share with you, and she has already tried to present the content of the protocol, and I think that we are talking about the same things. So the protocol is very important for the trade unions, and it's one of the conditions to work forward, especially for the people without the stable work. So because the protocol is talking about the guarantee of the places, the stability of work, of the jobs. As you know, for us, it's a very, very important element, and we want to have all contracts. As you see, the protocol has been translated into many languages, French, Portuguese, and the protocol is talking about the norms and standards. And the first document, which was maintained by many countries, African countries, and the protocol, the key element of the protocol is social security. So what now our states are not agree with some definitions, some terms they want or don't want, but I would like to tell you first, they wanted initially to have this protocol, and we worked a lot with our governments to have this document. We mobilize the civil society, but now the question: why do they don't want ratify? There are
Après avoir tourné autour du pot,
who ratified. They signed, but why do they don't want ratify? They have worked closely on this document, and now this content is ready, and now they have to ratify. But this the question or issue or political wish. So in this protocol we have our place, as was mentioned, and it allows us to have the regulations of the legislation on social protection, on governments, on inclusion, and different and also everything we mentioned, we negotiated with the government is included in maternity leaves, universal protection, etc., shared responsibility, environment, climate, etc. And these are factors important for the informal economy. We, as an actor, as actors of informal economy, we have to maintain, sustain, support this protocol and push our government to sign and to raise awareness about the importance of this protocol. Our government should sign and go forward to the ratifications. We cannot follow you. You are not following what? You know, I just showed my screen. So I'm talking about the possible actions, how to support this this protocol, this instrument, because being members of civil society, being members of trade unions, we have to do actions towards the social protections, and we have to take our governments and talk about the importance of this document and push them to sign these documents, and after go towards the procedure of ratification. And it took Africa developed the model that I will share with you, and you can see and take it as an example how to go forward with these initiatives. This is a model document which explains why the protocol is important and why it is important to sign it and ratify it. You are many who can send this document to the government and push them to go forward towards a signature or ratification. You know, we have to recognize this protocol at the level of our national councils, because many employers, state employers or public officers, do not know what protocol is talking about. And this is our role to raise awareness about these issues. We should sensibilize the persons, and to do that, I took Africa and developed the document that I will share as well. And Laura has already mentioned. This document can be used for your future work. We are asking the formalization of alliances. Sorry, madam, can you stop, please, because I cannot speak when you are talking. Can you close your mic, please? So we can think about the alliances with civil society organizations, establishment of think tank groups, and establishing of contacts with important person who can help us in promoting the protocol and go forward with this protocol. These are strategy. So we have the document, and we the protocol itself, and all the ETUC Africa developed the document, and the document explains
autant que vous
could play the important role in promoting this document. So you can consider this document like a roadmap. The roadmap is ready for any federation, association, or any structural organization can use this document, and it can be used with your negotiations with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the President of your Republic, Ministry of Labor, and you can use it with the structures or state bodies in charge of social protection. So I will share with you this document, and these guidelines in French and in English, and I will put I would like to put in chat, but I will say send to Jane, and she will share among with you. And this document is talking about the protocol, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Sister Ghislaine. I think my main take from Ghislaine's presentation is the issue of some of the government officials in our respective countries not being aware of the protocol. I think this is a thing that we've witnessed firsthand, and I think I was with Ghislaine in one of the meetings where we had government representatives in a meeting where we are just talking on the issues of popularizing the protocol, and they are actually not aware of this protocol, and they are senior members in government. So I think it's also our role as unions, in collaboration with the trade unions from our respective countries, to sensitize government departments on the protocol, because there are so many of them who are not aware of this protocol. I'm now going to hand over this session to my colleague Evelyn for any comments, any questions, and thank you so much, Ghislaine. And for me, my question would be to you, what are the strategies that you're putting in place, in particular, to collaborate with the informal workers' organizations, where you have all your members to work together in promoting this protocol? What particular strategy have you put in place, or are you considering as ITUC Africa? Over to you, Evelyn.
Thank you very much to everybody, all the presenters and everybody present. I'd like to bring it to your notice that it's time for questions, all the presentations that have taken place, and Jane has set the ball rolling. We are still opening room for questioning. From time to time, maybe we will take 2 and 3, and after response, we take another round of questions. But if you like, you can also write your question in the chat, and we shall read it too. So you present your question, you raise up your hand, and you put your question across. But please mention who you want to address the question to among the presenters. Thank you very much. At the moment, I have not, yes, I can see Sister Gislaine's hands up. Now, I wish Angelique will also speak. Please, Gislaine, go on.
I just want to announce that on the chat, I send the protocol, the guides the two guys in French and in English, plus the latter in English and French. They can download it for the best use. So that is what I want to say. Only if you allow me to respond directly to the question that Jane addressed to me. So I will go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. And then we do that of Angelique.
Okay, I will go in French. Alors, Jane demande quel est le...
Jane is asking what is the strategy for the informal workers. We don't have particular strategy for informal workers because all the affiliates of ETUC Africa concerns not only the informal or formal sector, because there are several articles in protocol which are talking specifically about the issues and including informal workers, and the sensibilization and ratification of this protocol includes also the informal workers. That's why we have to go forward together, and ETUC Africa, since the signature, since the adoption of this protocol, organizes the different meetings in the countries, which implies not only the informal workers, but also the formal workers. In Senegal, we did that with the members of STICNET, the members, and we do not make any distinctions between the representatives, and we implies we engage any organizations and members, and we inform that all of them about the venue of the meetings dedicated to the protocol. It was in Nairobi, and we were working with the members, and Dr. Mongo was there, and we were talking about this with many leaders, include both informal and formal workers. As you know, social security hasn't informal or a formal phase, and there is no particular strategy to put forward, and the mastering of the protocol is very important, and the state has to ratify, and they have to put into national legislation the specific provisions to do that. That's our role.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can go ahead. If you want to ask question, just raise your hand. Angelique is now on the floor. Thank you.
Merci, Evelyn.
Thank you, Evelyn, for giving me the floor. Greetings to everyone. Ghislaine, I'm very happy to see you. Thank you for your presentation. Cheers, my dear. Ghislaine, the question of social protection, it is an issue and very important for the informal economy workers. Currently, we are on the ground, and we are testimonying the problems related with this issue among informal workers. But this African Union adopted these charts, and in order to adopt or ratify this protocol, we have to push the government in our respective level. If we are talking that this document was adopted by African Union, so I think that African Union has to push the government to go forward, and we at our level, with our organization, we have to push forward for the ratification. we are working, and if you are working with different African Union organizations, how do you see these problems? And another problem is it took Africa is working with SweetNet Africa in different countries in the field of sensibilization or awareness on the protocol, and I think that SweetNet gives as a name of organization we can contact trade unions or other to to work ensemble, to work together with SweetNet members on these questions of informal economy workers, especially in my country, because as you know that the majority of workers in my country are in informal sector, and it is very complicated to support them. And at the level of RDC, there is a platform of women, ONG women, and now we're thinking how to cooperate with them and in terms of social security, how to engage them, how to engage our NGOs and other women organizations to talk together and to move forward with social security. And I will try to discuss within the group to discuss this protocol and to see how can we move forward for the ratification of this document. And thank you, Ghislaine. I was very happy to see you today.
Intervenir pour expliquer.
Evelyn, if you allow me, I would like to I don't see other hands.
Yeah, don't see any other hands here that Angelique was comment. Or is there something you wanted to respond easily?
Yes, I want to respond to Angelique Kipulu.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, c'est vrai.
It's true. You know, it's very bad and it's impitoyable. So why we do this document? It's not a African Union. It's one structure. This is the technical arm. But who would like to have this protocol? The chief of states, they had a program of development, and following this workshop of the meeting in Ouagadougou, they asked technical service of African Union to produce documents related to the social protection. And this service asked by the chief of states, they launched the process and which finished by the elaboration of this protocol. And the initiative was on chief of state and not the states themselves. It was not asked by the population, it was asked by these chief of states, and we were working together. You know, the experts have been asked. There were consultants who worked on the drafts. So we worked and we went to Addis Ababa many times and we to have this document. And you know, we worked hardly and we mobilized everybody to have this document. And finally, they adopt this document and they know the following, and they know that when it's adopted, they have to sign. And the organization of civil society and trade unions push it. Why? Because we have our interest to do that, because we want the document on social protection. So we had the protocol, okay. And after, as many other documents produced, they push it to produce the document today, and okay, we recognize the social protection. Documents are covering everybody, everything related to social protection. and it was very important, and it was like a social contract, including both workers of informal and formal economy. And now a document is talking about everything. It's time and gives the responsibility for the state. So our colleagues have their presentation. The presentation I would like to was more detailed on about the process, how it was going, and why we were engaged as ETUC Africa and every person's. We could have the alliances to ratify the document. Now the ETUC Africa are not alone, but being alone they cannot do everything. We have to be together and go forward. And the guidelines we proposed, it contains the lines, the millstones, how to go forward and how to like it's like a convention 199 and 89, but it's more like a convention at international level because it's a document for the African Union.
Thank you very much, Sister Nkomet. I'm not seeing any other hand up now. It's a very interesting intervention, and I would like to see more hands and comments. If you want any question, you want to present any comments, raise your hand, please. Okay. Then, in the absence of any other comment, okay, there's a hand up. Annie, go ahead, please. Annie,
There's also a hand from Mamolise. There was a hand from Mamolise.
He was clapping. It was not a lifted hand, please.
Oh, okay.
He was applauding, yeah. Allez-y, go ahead, Annie.
Oui, bonjour, chers camarades, bonjour tout le monde.
Hello, dear comrades, hello everyone. I'm very happy to see you. I had at the beginning I had a problem with the connection, connectivity. I'm many greetings to Ghislaine, which is without tiredness, is continuing to support the workers and especially informal workers in terms of social protection. You know, I don't want to ask many questions, but I would like, nevertheless, ask Dr. Ghislaine. ETUC Africa arrived to concise the responsibility of the chief of states and put forward the interest of the ratification of this protocol, even if the protocol is not signed yet, and forward in favor of all workers. But we have to recognize that we have the responsible person in the state level because they have the key of our destiny, working destiny, and I think I would like to have to make one example, the example of the event, last event in October. Ghislaine came with the General Secretary of ETUC Africa, and they gave the orientations, very extremely useful guidelines regarding the protocol. Unfortunately, since her departure in Senegal, they later installed, and we should continue our work. And if the Central Trade Union organization had the opportunity to we had the opportunity and the force and to affront the state of Senegal and explain them the opportunity the necessity of this document. And I would like to ask Gisèle to summarize everything what has happened, to take an example of what has happened in Senegal, and second, to make the guidelines for ratification of this protocol. Because, but if we arrive to have a success in our fighting with our president of Mikasalo 2 months ago, we the protocol should be signed. But now we are in we're sleeping now, and it is affecting everybody. I don't want ask Gisèle, but if being given the examples of everything which is happening in Africa, many discussions that held in African Union in different regions about the protocol. Could you think about how to do with the ratification of this protocol? And this is the question I would like. Would it be late for Senegal to ratify the protocol in our country?
Go ahead with your comments.
Oui.
Dear Annie, as well as a comment. I'd like to also admit Maurice. Maurice, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good day and greetings to all comrades on the platform. As Lesotho, we really would like to appreciate and applaud the organization of this meeting today, because we have been trying different approaches to engage our government to let us negotiate or get into negotiations concerning the social protection issues. And again, we had a challenge whereby now we had the informal economy workers not being recognized when we were hit by COVID-19. And there was this social protection grant being offered. But we had to work as an organization with the government under informal setup or negotiation process. But we managed to register our members so that the government of Lesotho could be able to assist the street vendors and other informal trader sectors. But from today's discussions or these presentations, from the first presentation to the last, there are issues which we have picked, which have also added a kind of a light on how best we can adopt those different strategies that have been shared today. Hence, we are saying we thank StreetNet very much and the organizers today to have organized this so that in 2024 we'll be in a position now to see how best, as StreetNet, we have been discussing since our AGM about solidarity movement. And with this platform and discussions, we can see the light and the direction which now StreetNet is looking forward to when we talk of solidarity movement. And having said that, I also wanted to ask about the March 2024 sitting where the 6 countries will be sitting together. Maybe we could get which countries are going to sit together to discuss the the social protection issue. And another thing was the training offerings. How do we get access to those trainings on social protection popularization? I think those comes from the 4th presenter. Thank you so much, Evelyn and the comrades.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mamonese. After your comments, you raised 2 questions: 2024 March gathering and that of the training on popularization. I will allow the presenters, the fourth presenter, to come up with the answer. If there is anybody who would like to also ask a question, as we are time bound, please may you raise up your hand quickly, and then we see the way for it. Thank you. I'll call on our presenters. Just a moment.
Bonjour Evelyne, bonjour Monsieur.
Moment, s'il vous plaît.
Hello, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It is very good initiative. The protocol is very good initiative because I had a chance to read, and the document presents the solutions, some solutions for our problems, and if the protocol is ratified in all our respective countries, it would give all the solutions. And I would like to thank CITNET for this initiative. And I would like to ask to support the trade unions in their work. I'd like to ask CITNET to maintain or to support the trade unions or organization members in lobbying work in order the issues of informal workers included in this document, and this document is ratified. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any question asked? Is there anything the presenters would like to say in conclusion so that we move to the next level? Okay. In the absence of any further intervention, I'll hand the floor over to Jane, while we move on to the next level of engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Evelyn. I see a hand from Christopher, and from our previous the comments and questions, there was a question that was raised in terms of accessing the trainings. I think the question was from Mamolise, and it was addressed to Ghislaine. If Ghislaine would respond to that, or any other panelists that feels they can respond before we go to Christopher. Ghislaine, are you there? There was a question about training. Okay, I think I can.
Jane, I can add something on that, because we also have social protection training material. And I think, you know, if affiliates are wanting, we did run an online social protection training course for some of the affiliates of StreetNet last year. If there's other affiliates that didn't benefit from that but would like to, you know, do that, then I think the way to raise it is through your StreetNet organizers, who can then raise it with WeGo as well, as an activity that is important for the network. Thanks.
Thanks, Laura, for that clarification. Comrade Christopher Gadget. You're muted, comrade, if you're talking.
Hello.
Yes, comrade.
Afternoon to all. Good afternoon to all panelists and a very Merry Christmas to all. My concern has to do with on the social protection service for which we all are yearning after as trade union, from where my comrade spoke also of. And we also have an incident of our own country from a trade union, that is from the Republic of Liberia, Monrovia to be specific. During the outbreak of the nation of the world dreaded virus, which was the Ebola in 2014, and that of the issue also of the COVID-19, 2018 and 2019, there are issues of concern with our government also here, to be specific, that of Liberia. The informal sector of this nation also had not been covered by the social protection of these aspect of the people, for which we have been heard and called upon many days for our people. And with the fact that our partners, StreetNet, WICO, and other well-wishers are coming up with this protection protocol, our concern here is how can partners be able to help their affiliate, more especially where in countries that the government don't have interest in the informal sector for social protection. What are those things? And two, the online training sometimes that was being held due to the distance and other things that our network are not too strong and so much costly. There are people who also want to partake of those training online, but it's so costly from our side because of network issue. How can we be able to say come together and have these 1 day or 2 days training in social protection that will be able to allow us to have a strong agenda in order to address our government into our various locality? That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Christopher. Laura, do you want to come in on this? Any idea, any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any suggestions on this. Sorry to say that. Yeah.
Okay. Ghislaine, are you there? Ghislaine is also not there.
Yes, I'm there, Jen.
Okay, Edwin, yes, please.
Yeah, thanks. Concerning the questions that have been raised by the membership, I think what is critical is each country to work with a number of partners and develop a working formula on how they can approach issues on ratification of the protocol. There might also be other issues that are more important and would come earlier than ratifying the protocol, but there are issues that the protocol has talked about, issues on the family, the informal economy, or the different areas that also affects the street vendors. They've been mentioned in the protocol. So even without necessarily really pushing for the ratification of the protocol, the membership can still push for implementation of policies or programs that directly touches the areas of interest of the street vendors. Thank you.
Yeah, Jen, maybe I can just add on that as well. I mean, I think the activities that we've got in the slides on the protocol are also often activities around identifying social protection needs more generally, right? So some of those activities are actual general social protection exercises that could help organizations to do their own education work around social protection and also to develop ideas for advocacy, even if it's not, as Edwin says, the protocol, but maybe focusing on something smaller like a health scheme or, you know, a pension scheme or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Laura, for that vision. Comrades, for the interest of time, we're now going to move to our next agenda item. And thank you, Laura, for the support to enable us to do this. Through the support of WIGO, we were able to produce an animation kind of message to pass on to our affiliates or our members. We share it with our nets on how to popularize the protocol. And I'm now going to invite
Oops, I think that my colleague Jane just froze. But don't worry, I'm here. She was going to introduce me. So from StreetNet team, we've been producing an animation about social protection protocol. We produced this within StreetNet and also with an animation studio in Ghana. And the purpose of this animation is to raise awareness of the protocol and also hopefully mobilize informal economy workers to start organizing and getting their governments to ratify and fully implement the protocol. So we are going to share with you today the version in English, but the version in French and in Portuguese are also being produced, and hopefully we'll get to share those versions with you this week. So without further ado, let me just share my screen. And I'll also put in the chat the link to the YouTube video if for some reason you are not able to see it very well. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so let's start.
Non, 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 la Guinée, non. Tous les écrans qui ont passé, je n'ai plus aucun écran.
Some of them cannot see.
Hey, you, my sister working in the informal economy. Did you know the African Union has just passed a protocol defending your rights to social protection? Wait, my sister, this is really important. Do you understand what social protection is? Social protection refers to the safeguard needed to protect workers, including those in the informal economy, against the various risks they face in their lifetime. In 2023, the African Union adopted the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the right of citizens to social protection and social security. It specifically states that all African citizens have a right to social protection, and that states to run a democratic social protection system which covers the basic needs of all. In particular, the protocol targets these groups: informal and rural workers, underemployed, cross-border migrants, and internally displaced persons, women and girls, family, older persons, children, adolescents and youth, persons with disabilities. It includes many different types of support, including maternity and paternity, healthcare, and sickness benefits, occupational health and safety, death and survivors, education, and also food, water, sanitation and hygiene, housing, environment, and climate change. It seems too good to be true, right? But it's not all. Besides all of this support, the protocol is really promoting the rights of informal economy workers like ourselves. It specifically says that African states should include informal economy workers in social security schemes, provide or recognize formal and informal social insurance and microinsurance schemes, social assistance measures, and ways for these workers to save, help them to contribute to social security and receive benefits, develop a minimum social protection package, provide maternity and health protection, help them access markets and credit, provide skills development, extend social protection, promote sustainable enterprises so that they become more formalized, help them protect their income, and encourage them to join social protection programs. Yes, now we understand why this protocol is so important. But wait, here comes the tricky part. Until the protocol is ratified by at least 15 African countries, it is only a piece of paper. This means you and I, we have to get our government to sign and ratify the protocol. Only 2 out of 15 countries that have ratified. Sao Tome, Niger. Arise, informal economy workers. Let us organize and mobilize to make this social protection a reality for all. Now that we have this tool, let's put it to work. Contact your local organization of informal economy workers and start advocating. Ratify the African Union Social Protection Protocol.
This was brought to you by StreetNet International. StreetNet International, nothing for us without us.
So this is the animation, and we hope we can share it more with you soon. I'm going to put the YouTube link here in the chat, and we'll share with you the versions in French and Portuguese once they are available. Thank you so much, and I'm going to pass the mic again to Jane.
Thank you so much, Margarita, and thank you, colleagues, the team, for working on the animation. And this brings us to the end of our webinar today. As Margarita has said, we're going to share the link of the animation, and feel free to share it with your members or in the different groups that you have amongst yourself. This is your tool. We've prepared it for you to help you popularize the protocol. Apologies from Dr. Hongong. Something just came up and he couldn't make it to the presentation, to the webinar. He sends his apology, but we hope to engage him more in the future. So on behalf of StreetNet, I take this opportunity to thank you for taking your time to participate in this webinar that is very important for us. This is a journey that we're just beginning, and we are hoping that with the forces we have and in collaboration with other nets and the trade unions and other like-minded organizations, we're going to work very hard come 2024 to lobby our governments to ratify the protocol. Kindly let us all read the protocol, share it with our members, share it with the government departments that we work with, so that we can all be on one page. Again, as Oksana said, we thank WIGO, we thank Laura in particular for the support she's given us in terms of preparing this webinar, preparing all the materials, all the animation, and all the support she's that she gives us on issues to do with social protection. And we're looking forward to more collaborations in 2024. So with this, I wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a prosperous New Year. And I hope to see you all energized in the new year. Thank you so much. Sorry, thank you to our interpreters. Yeah, and thank you so much to our interpreters, Dimitri and Marcia. Thank you so much for your support always. And yeah, we still look forward to working with you again next year. Thank you. Yes, let's all put our cameras on to take a picture of the year. Margarita, you tell us when you're done.
Yes, I'm hoping more people will turn on the cameras. Oh, Alice and Finn, there they are.
That
Christopher, put on your camera.
Okay, everybody smile. Banana.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you for the
Nice
picture.
to
Have
see
a
you.
great Christmas, New Year, or any other holidays you celebrate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye-bye.